And welcome to the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva. You can check out my YouTube channel, the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva, for archives of today's show. So today it's about the legendary Madeline Peyroux. The New York Times have compared her voice to that of greats like Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald. So Madeline started out singing on the streets of Paris. She would sing jazz and blues songs, and then in 2004 her luck changed when her album Careless sold over 500,000 copies. Madeline grew up in Georgia, where she started playing the ukulele, that's a type of guitar. And then when she was 13, her family moved to Paris, where she started singing with bands and touring Europe. Her debut album, Dreamland, was released in 1996 on Atlanta Records. In 2004, her album Careless Love, released on Rounder Records, sold over 500,000 copies and was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America. Later that year, she released another hit album, Half the Perfect World. That album reached number 33 on the Billboard magazine Top 200 Albums chart. In 2007, Madeline won Best International Jazz Artist Award at the BBC Jazz Awards. So today on the Jazz Update, it's all about Madeline Peyroux, her best hits and biography. Also coming up, some festival and album news. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva. We'll be right back after some music. Stay tuned. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva. You can check out my YouTube channel for archives of today's show on the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva. Today on the Jazz Update, Paris-based singer Madeline Peyroux. She was born in Athens in Georgia in 1974. In her own words, she grew up in a house filled with music and soon took a liking for it. But it wasn't until her later years growing up on the streets of France that her luck changed for the better. In 1987, Madeline's family moved to France and she took to the streets playing the guitar and singing. Now in Paris, there is a club called the Latin Quarter where musicians gather. Young Madeline was a frequent at that locale. She wanted to learn their art of music. A few years later, she was recruited by the jazz band the Lost Wandering Blues and Jazz Band. She went on to tour Europe with them. 1991, Madeline was discovered by Atlanta Records, who signed her up for a contract. In 1996, she released her breakthrough album Dreamland, a massive success selling over 200,000 copies. And because of that album, she soon came to the attention of the jazz world. People started comparing her voice to the styles of Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday. And then, at one point, her singing took a turn for the worse. After extensive touring, her voice began to show signs of strain and she was unable to complete her contract at Atlanta Records, and that stalled her career for a while. She did make a short comeback with Big Apple and Sony Records, but that collaboration was short-lived. So she took to the streets of New York again, singing to make a living. Also, she would perform in clubs. Then in 2003, she signed up with Rounder Records, and that's when her luck changed for the better. She went on to produce several hit albums, acclaimed worldwide. One of the highlights from her tenure at Atlanta Records was her album Careless Love, released in 2004. That's an album of beautiful covers. Careless Love went on to sell more than 500,000 copies, and that shifted the global spotlight onto Madeline Peyroux's singing. In 2006, she released another hit album, Half the Perfect World. In 2009, she produced an album called Bare Bones, an entire album of original compositions. Also, one of her tracks, called La Javanaise, was used in the soundtrack of an Oscar award-winning movie called The Shape of Water. So that was a bit about the biography on Madeline Peyroux. This is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva. We'll be right back after some music. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashanti Silva. Today on the show we are talking all about Madeline Peyroux, her life and times and best hits. And now it's time to talk about an album that's trending on the jazz charts. A band hailing from Richmond, Virginia are trending at the top of the Roots jazz charts for this week with their album Solar Music. You can download the album on iTunes for $34.99. So a bit of background on the band, it's called Butcher Brown. This one's an up-and-coming band that's all about innovation. And they've been expanding the boundaries of jazz and hip-hop through their music since 2013. This album, Solar Music, blends jazz, rap, funk, soul and rock to create groundbreaking sounds. The result is a psychedelic mix of solar music that defies genre conventions. Solar Music presents Butcher Brown at its best, shows off warm, funky jazz beats, unpredictable fusion mixed with electro songs. There's also some great rap songs and a beautiful saxophone track. You can download this album on iTunes for $34.99. This is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. They're going for a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some of Madeline Peyroux's best hits of all time. Stay tuned. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. You can check out my YouTube channel for archives of today's show on the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. Today on the Jazz Update, we're talking all about jazz legend Madeline Peyroux. And on this segment, we're going to be talking about some of her best hits of all time. Here's a quick recap of some of the songs we're going to be discussing on this segment. Getting some fun out of life. It's all about celebrating life to the fullest. The things that matter are the small things in life. It's all about taking oneself with a pinch of salt. I Must Be Saved is a beautiful love song. This song talks about the importance of being loved and how holding on to love is the most important thing, even if it means sacrificing other things in life. There's also a tribute to Madeline's sister called I Wish I Could Shimmy Like My Sister Kate, a tribute to her talent at dancing the shimmy. In the lyrics she says she wishes she could dance like her sister. There's also a song called To You All Over Again. This one's about a past love affair. It's left the singer with mixed emotions and she misses that love that she had. And finally, Everybody's Talking. In this song, the singer is in a world of her own. She feels disconnected from what's going on around her. She cannot find meaning in her life. So, on this segment, we're going to be talking all about the meanings of these songs, and you're tuned into the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. We'll be right back after some music. Stay tuned. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel for archives of today's show on the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. Today it's all about jazz legend Madeline Peyroux. On this segment, we're going to be talking about some of her best hits of all time. So the first song is called Getting Some Fun Out of Life. It's all about celebrating life to the fullest, the things that matter, taking oneself with a pinch of salt, reveling in small pleasures. So, according to the song, these are the key components of that dream life. The song also takes a rather controversial tone. It questions the idea of morality. If we are doing what we love to do, morals, right and wrong, they don't even matter. So that's what the song talks about, and it's a rather controversial idea. I Must Be Saved, another beautiful song. This one's a love song. It talks about the importance of being loved. This song opens up by asking the listener to reflect on the things that can be lost in love. For example, keys, buttons, rings. There's also the intangible aspect of things like losing passion, hope, faith in mankind. But what is the greatest loss? Love. That's the greatest loss mankind can endure. The consequences of losing out on love are worse than any other. It's worth any sacrifice to remain in love. So overall, this song talks about how life is a balance between losing something and gaining something. Holding on to love is the most important thing, even if it means sacrifice of the smaller things in life. I Wish I Could Shimmy Like My Sister Kate is a song that talks about shimming. Now this song is a tribute to Madeline's sister, Kate, a tribute to her talent at dancing the shimmy. In the lyrics she says she wishes she could dance like her. It's like everybody just stares when Kate is dancing the shimmy. Madeline wishes she could also dance like that. It's a beautiful, catchy, upbeat rhythm and tempo song. Great for a party, by the way. A song from the album Bare Bones by Peyroux called To You All Over Again. This one's a song about a past love affair. It's left the singer with mixed emotions. In the song, she's comparing herself to a person sitting in an empty room. There's a window in the wall, and she's looking out of that window. And she's singing about how there was both good and bad in that relationship, ups and downs, from love to shouting matches. And she misses that love that she had. Everybody's Talking. This one's a song about this person who feels overwhelmed. If you can imagine this situation, you're in a room, everybody's talking, chitter-chatter all around. That's how the singer feels. She's in a world of her own and she just feels disconnected from what's going on around her. She says she wants to go where the sun keeps shining, through the pouring rain, going where the weather suits my clothes. This one has a very dreamy ambience. Now all this is a metaphor for how the singer feels about life. She feels lost, disconnected, she can't find meaning in her life. So this is overall a song that talks about the importance of relationships with people. Well, that was some great hits by Madeline Peyroux, and this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. We're going for a short break, but we'll be right back after that. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. On today's show, we're talking all about Madeline Peyroux, her life and times and best hits. The New Orleans Jazz Festival has just announced its lineup for the festival this year. The festival is actually taking place in the month of April and May, but it's being toured by some very big names in rock, R&B, country, jazz, and more. So here's some of the names from the lineup for the 2024 New Orleans Jazz Festival. Quite a dizzying lineup, featuring an impressive bunch of stars. The Rolling Stones, Neil Young, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Foo Fighters, Queen Latifah, Chris Stapleton, and more. The festival will also be toured by New Orleans' own John Batiste. So overall, nearly 100 acts over multiple weekend performances. The festival is taking place April 25th to 28th and May 2nd to the 5th. If you want to buy tickets to the show, it's best to book ahead of time, so you can choose between single-day passes, available for $106 as of now, or multi-day general admission passes for $366. To buy tickets, please visit www.vividseats.com. This is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashani Silva. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back after that. When we come back, more of Madeline Peyroux's greatest hits. Stay tuned.